Okay, so you want to buy a computer club. Sounds simple. Buy 50 gaming PCs, plug them into fiber internet, charge by the hour, and watch the teenagers pour in. RGB lighting, energy drinks, a chair better than the one in their bedroom. What's not to love? On paper, it looks like a vending machine that prints money every 60 minutes. No inventory to restock, no perishables, no supply chain, just electricity and rent. Here's the paradox. The single largest dedicated gaming center ever built in America, 150 stations, 10 minutes from Manhattan, closed anyway. Not after a bad year, after 6 good ones. Daily tournaments, thousands in cash prizes, a loyal community that showed up every weekend. So if scale doesn't save the biggest gaming club in the country, what does? Turns out this business isn't really about computers at all. It's about what you sell around them and how long you can survive before the hardware you bought becomes worthless. On the cheap end, a 20-station setup, budget around $80,000. Bargain bin PCs, folding chairs, a router from Best Buy. It also almost never turns a profit. 20 seats isn't a business, it's a hobby with a commercial lease. The real entry point is 40 stations. That runs $150,000 to $250,000. High-end rigs cost $600 to $2,500 a seat. Ergonomic gaming chairs run $200 to $500 each. The chairs alone can cost you $20,000 before you've bought a single processor. Some owners try to cut costs with refurbished PCs at $600 to $900 a unit instead. It shaves the opening budget in half. It also means your high-end gaming center is running 2-generation-old graphics cards on day one, which your customers will notice within a week. Then there's rent. You need 3,000 to 6,000 square feet for the floor, and in a decent metro, that's $30 to $60 per square foot a year before you've turned on a single monitor. Most owners don't have $200,000 sitting around, so they lean on SBA loans or equipment financing, which means monthly debt payments stacked on top of rent before a single customer walks in. Go bigger. The entertainment model, arcade plus bowling plus bar plus gaming stations, and you're at $475,000 to $642,000 before serving a single drink. That's roughly what it costs to open Velocity Esports in Newport, Kentucky. 23,000 square feet, craft cocktails, foosball, the whole package. Nobody mentions the recurring costs either. Dedicated commercial fiber runs $500 to $1,500 a month. Commercial game licensing can add thousands more a year per title, and the refresh cycle. Every PC you just financed is obsolete in 2 to 3 years. Not broken, obsolete. Your customers notice the difference even if your balance sheet doesn't. Before you plug in a single mouse, 3 things nobody warns you about. 1. Most game publishers technically ban commercial use of their software. Riot, Valve, Blizzard, running their games for paying customers requires a separate commercial license most owners don't even know exists, on top of the retail price you already paid. Skip it and you're one audit away from a cease and desist. 2. Zoning. You need foot traffic, which means mall space or dense urban blocks, some of the most expensive real estate categories that exist. Suburban strip malls are cheaper and also where gaming lounges quietly die. 3. And this is the one that actually makes money. A liquor license. Alcohol is where the real margin lives. But a liquor license means age verification, security staff, and insurance for a room full of unsupervised teenagers and alcohol under the same roof. Some states also treat cash prize tournaments as a gray area under gambling law. Good luck explaining any of that to your insurer. Most standard commercial policies simply exclude venues that mix alcohol service with minors on the premises, forcing you into specialty coverage at a premium. And then there's staffing. A 40-seat floor open 16 hours a day needs 2 to 3 employees per shift just for tech support and supervision, not counting kitchen or bar staff if you're serving food. Minimum wage doesn't apply here. You need people who can rebuild a PC mid-tournament without losing the crowd. Here's the math nobody puts in the pitch deck. Your product isn't gaming, it's a seat hour. One chair rented for 60 minutes at $3 to $8 depending on the day, weekdays $3 to $5, weekends $5 to $8. Why not just charge more? Because your customer is a 14-year-old with a fixed allowance and a free PlayStation at home. Push past $8 an hour and he goes home. There is a hard ceiling on this business and it's set by a kid's weekly cash, not your rent. The number that decides if you live or die is called utilization utilization rate. What percentage of your seats are filled during open hours? Hotels call it occupancy, you call it survival. Compare it to Korea, where this business was actually invented. A Korean PC Bang, same concept, decades older, charges 70 cents to $1.10 an hour. Insultingly cheap. But at its peak, there were over 20,000 of them running on volume. America flipped the model. Higher price, way lower volume. A well-run 40-seat center needs roughly 50% utilization just to break even in 12 to 18 months. Industry data on actual gaming lounges puts real-world utilization closer to 20%. For comparison, a mediocre movie theater still averages 15 to 20% seat occupancy across a full week, and survives because ticket prices are locked in by the studio and popcorn margins are enormous. A computer club has neither of those safety nets. You set your own price, badly, and you compete with a free PlayStation at home. 20% utilization on a $200,000 build. Do that math yourself, actually, don't. It's depressing. Here's the part nobody in this business says out loud. The PCs are bait, not the business. Look at Korea again. In the early 2000s, food was 10 to 20% of a PC Bang's revenue. By 2019, food was 40%. The hourly rate never moved. You can't raise 90 cents without a riot. So the money quietly migrated to instant noodles and energy drinks instead. America's most successful gaming company figured this out and never even called itself a computer club. Dave & Buster's, over 240 locations, pulls about 63% of revenue from arcade machines, with food and drinks making up the rest. Alcohol alone is worth roughly 11% of total revenue, and it carries a margin regular soda could only dream of. Most computer clubs try to copy this with monthly memberships instead. Unlimited access for a flat fee like a gym. It works the same way gyms work. Sell more memberships than seats and pray nobody shows up every single day. Some try sponsorship revenue too. Hardware brands paying to put their logo on your PCs. Energy drink companies paying for exclusive shelf space. It sounds like free money. In practice, it's a few $1,000s a year. Nowhere close to covering a $200,000 build. Sponsorship money scales with your audience size, and a 40-seat local lounge simply doesn't have the reach that makes a brand write a real check. Then there's the government version. Arlington, Texas spent $10 million in taxpayer money to build Esports Stadium Arlington, a dedicated tournament venue the city owns outright. The private operator running events there doesn't carry the real estate risk. The city does. Try competing with a rival whose rent is paid by a mayor trying to look modern. Helix Esports opened in North Bergen, New Jersey, 10 minutes from Manhattan. 150 gaming stations, 110 high-end HP Omen PCs at roughly $3,500 apiece. The largest dedicated gaming center in the United States, full stop. It was successful enough to plan a second location attached to a professional sports venue, the first gaming center of its kind in the country. It ran for 6 years, daily cash prize tournaments, a full VR lounge, a community that genuinely loved the place. Then, quietly, it closed. No scandal, no lawsuit. The math finally caught up with the square footage. If the single biggest, best funded, most loved gaming center in the country can't make 6 years of near perfect execution work, that tells you something about the ceiling on this entire category. Belong Gaming Arenas tried scaling a UK chain into America. 6 venues, 1 national brand. In 2023, all 6 shut down in the same announcement. Not one struggling location fading out. The entire US operation gone at once. Even the hybrid model isn't safe. Velocity Esports, the $475,000 plus concept with bowling, foosball, and cocktails bolted onto the gaming floor, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Its mall location in Schaumburg, Illinois, closed within a year of opening, even while its other 2 locations stayed open. Now the success story. Dave & Buster's runs the same core idea. Pay-to-play games in a room full of screens, but never tried to be a computer club. It built a full-service restaurant and bar first, and let the arcade machines pull foot traffic through the door. Result: over $1 billion a year in amusement revenue, more than 200 locations, and 3 decades of actually staying open. Run your own 40-seat computer club through 2 versions of reality. Optimistic case: $200,000 to build. You hit 50% utilization, genuinely good for this industry, at an average $6 an hour, open 16 hours a day. That's 640 seat hours available daily, 320 of them sold at $6 each, $1,920 a day. Over a year, that's roughly $700,000 in seat revenue alone, plus food and drinks adding another 20 to 30% on top. At a healthy 20% margin, you clear somewhere around $140,000 to $180,000 a year. Payback in under 2 years. Congratulations, you're now one of the maybe 1 in 5 gaming lounges in this industry that actually gets here. Realistic case, your utilization lands closer to the industry average, 20%, not 50%. Same 640 seat hours a day, but only 128 sold. At $6, $768 a day. Over a year, that's just over $280,000 in seat revenue. After rent, staff, insurance, software licenses, and utilities, you're barely covering costs, if you're covering them at all. And right around year 2 or 3, the refresh cycle hits. Every PC you finance needs replacing, exactly when you were hoping to finally turn a profit. Most owners in this position don't close dramatically. They just quietly stop renewing the lease. Run the numbers forward, and a center stuck at 20% utilization never actually reaches break even. It just bleeds slower than a business that closes outright. So here's the actual lesson. A computer club isn't a technology business. It's a real estate and food service business that happens to have monitors on the tables. The operators who survive, Dave & Buster's, a taxpayer-subsidized stadium in Texas, either aren't selling seat hours at all or aren't the one paying the real estate bill. Everyone else is racing 150 gaming PCs against a 2-year GPU refresh cycle, a 20% occupancy rate, and a customer base that's used to paying $1 an hour in Seoul. Put that same $200,000 in an index fund instead. In 6 years, you'd probably have more money, no lease to renew, and 0 teenagers yelling about ping. Or, if you really want the RGB lighting and the tournament trophies, do what Dave & Buster's did. Open a bar with some arcade cabinets bolted to the wall, and let the games be the excuse instead of the point.